Welcome back to Gaelic Games Fan TV. It is the Donegal season preview ahead of the 2025 Championship season. We're going to be looking ahead to the Donegal footballers ahead of the 2025 National Football League and the All-Ireland Senior Football Championship. We're going to be looking back at Donegal last season. For Donegal, it was certainly an interesting season, a great season, many would say. Promotion from Division 2, going up as champions, winning the Ulster title against, I wouldn't say all odds, but certainly a lot of people didn't back them at the start of that Ulster Football Championship, beating the likes of Derry, Tyrone and Armagh. So it doesn't really get much better than that, in fairness. And then, we'll discuss, obviously, Donegal in the All-Ireland series eventually falling to Galway. But sure, there's no harm in that, as us Dubs found out last year as well. Joined by Patrick Sharkey. What am I saying? I'm tripping on Patrick Sharkey from GEA Zone, who's here to preview the Donegal footballers. Patrick, how's life with yourself? I suppose not a bad year overall for Donegal last season.
Yeah, it's a year it's our first Ulster title in 5 years, our first All Ireland semi final appearance years there, and got from Division Two. You told me last year what would be a successful year for Donegal, and I said promotion from Division Two to and winning Ulster and getting back to an All Ireland semi final would be three realistic aims of ours, and we completed all of it there. But obviously now, once you complete aims like that, a lot of people inside and outside the county are obviously tipping you to bring the big ears home, to bring Sam Maguire home. Like, so it is that there, and maybe we'll see. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Like, a lot can, a lot can happen. It's probably not. It's probably not as predictable as over years with more games and stuff, like more likely players injuries, more likely. There's a lot of moving parts and stuff, like, so. It's definitely, I think it's a very wide open All Ireland this year.
Yeah, like I've spoke to a lot of GA fans, Dublin fans, neutral fans, whatever it may be, from other counties, and a lot of people are looking at Donegal this year as one of the favourites. Like, I think second year for Jim McGuiness, as we know, the second year, the last time around was the year they went on to win it. Kind of similar trends last season to McGuinness's first season as well, like ending a bit of a drought for an Ulster title, getting them to the semi-finals, not quite getting over the line in that semi-final. So, yeah, there is a lot of similarities kind of between McGuinness's first season, back in 2011, and his first season in 23, 24.
Yeah, definitely there, and it's gonna be interesting now. Like, we had a former player, right, and he just we needed him in for 2 years with the football review committee to sort out the rules and sort out some things that could work in our favour. And now he's out of retirement, and now he's back. So we're glad Michael Murphy's back. We're glad we've done our inside job. Like, so, it's ours to lose now. But you know what I mean. Like, I'd be, there's definitely it's definitely up there. Like, it's definitely, like, we definitely are favourites. Like, and the betting odds have us as third favourites. Now, don't go betting on anything or else. Like, I'm not, get gamble responsibly, and don't listen to my opinions if you are betting. But as there'll be some eyebrows raised later on in the episode, and but yeah, that's the main thing. I think, do I have to go out there? Like, my heart, my heart says my heart says, we're gonna win the All Ireland, but my head, we're in a pretty competitive pool. Armagh, the obvious All Ireland champions. In any given year, you can never rule out the reigning All Ireland champions, though. Some people think that's a reason actually now to rule out Armagh, which I can see that point, but I'm not ruling them out. Um, Even with Fenton gone, Dublin still have a team full of All Ireland winners. You know, it's probably a weaker Dublin team than a lot of other years, but there's still a lot there. Kerry, like,
Hmm.
both 2021 and 2024, they lost out in extra time of a semi final. To be at either Tyrone and Armagh, because Clifford started limping and stuff, like, so. If they can keep Clifford in good nick, and they don't, it's probably one of the big fears of Clifford. He could be the greatest footballer of all time, but there is obviously fears he might burn out. So that's probably, if they can keep their house in order, and all the rest, like, there's still question marks over their defense, like, but you
Hmm.
know they still basically have the same team that won the All Ireland. What, 2.5 years ago now, which kind of makes it sound. I kind of feel like it was last year, but and then you have RS. So that's their Galway. 2 out of the last three All Ireland finals, three in a row, Connacht champions. Are you seriously, you know, do not run them out? Paul Conroy's committed to another year, so there's definitely a massive, massive thing out there. And if you can keep Comer fit, and you keep Shane Walsh fit, Flannery, like, is there a better forward line in Ireland? Probably not.
Mm.
And I'm also, yeah, and one team I see that's getting very much written off because two key players have left the panel, and Kelly O'Connor and Padraig O'Hora is Mayo, which I know you said when Kevin McStay got appointed that they were going to win the All Ireland in 2025. No, I'm not saying. At the time it was probably a bit logical, and I'm sure
Yeah,
you'll make your own All Ireland prediction in due course. But I think there'll definitely be uh I think they'll definitely pull some trees this year. I think, if logic dictates they could win the All Ireland if they got there this year. You still have Durkin, you still have Colin Reap, you still have Owen McLaughlin. These are some of the top, Rolls Royce footballers, and we've seen, that, Ulster and Connacht were probably that cut above the rest and the recent kind of sandbox games. So that's definitely that there. So that's another team I'd probably put within a breathing space of the All Ireland. And yeah, and one other team. Well, there's two other teams that need mentioned. I don't know anything Paddy Tally. I think they were too late appointing him. They could have appointed, a team of Jim Gavin, Jim McGuiness, and or what do you call, Eamon Fitzmaurice, but if you leave it too late in the day, he's at a massive disadvantage compared to other managers. But squad wise, they have a squad capable of winning an All Ireland. Even with McKay gone, I still think there's a lot of going there. Even Lachlan Murray, was probably the best young footballer in the year last year, and I think it was a great shame he didn't even get a nomination for Young Footballer of the Year that last year, despite his poor championship performances. So I think they're definitely out there, and they'll have a bone to pick with Donegal first day out in Ballybuffet. And I think out there, and Tyrone, you can never write Tyrone off. Molly Hurk, probably he's a good buzz. Like Tiki took Fermanagh to an Ulster final, so that's probably the ceiling with Fermanagh and Irish. While the ceiling for Tyrone is a Sam Maguire, and we've seen the last two times new management bounces brought them in All Ireland.
mm.
So that there, and you saw Ergal Keir, now bear in mind that's a squad of 11 players who would have played for Tyrone at some point, who won the recent Ulster title there, but they still have a huge arsenal of talent, and they've won back to back, under 20 All Irelands as well. So I definitely think maybe not this year, but Tyrone are knocking right down the store, and I think within the next 3 years, I think we'll see another Sam Guire for Tyrone under Molly O'Rourke. So I think that's they're so the field is wide open there. The field is very, very competitive. So that's ultimately, logically, I think we're that little 1% ahead of the rest. But none of us are within 5% of each other like you do. So I think it's very crowded field.
Yeah, I think even when you look at all of the 8 teams in Division 1, I think there's very little between a lot of them. And I was saying this during the Dublin season preview there, a couple of days ago or whatever, saying that even as a Dublin fan, I don't necessarily I think we could beat anyone, but I think anyone else could beat us at the same time. I think it's completely wide open. But looking back to last year for Donegal, obviously promoted from Division 2. And then winning that Ulster championship as well. Wins versus Derry, Tyrone, and then eventually Armagh. Where did that rank, do you think, amongst Ulster championship wins? Because the way you did it, in fairness, to beat Derry just, what was a week, I think maybe after, a week or 2 weeks after they beat Dublin in the league final. I think a lot of people had Derry as the favourites. And then you just absolutely wiped the floor with them as well, if we're being perfectly honest.
Oh yeah, even the most the only people I was speaking to in the lead up to the final who thought we had a chance against Derry was some of the actual players on the team. And that's to be perfectly honest with you. Like you know, one particular player, I'm sure he'll say his own story when he retires, but was told in November not to go to Dubai. Jim McGuiness in November wanted him out training, or like, so that was obviously, and like and just within the final RC, so he wasn't telling that player, to show up and get beat by Derry and stuff like. But beating Derry would be one thing, but the way we did it, the way we just lobbed Oren Lynch off his line and stuff like. And I still think Oren Lynch is a good keeper. Like he's still like talented footballer and stuff like. But the sweeper keeper, yeah, absolutely, he flattered it. And Armagh dropped their sweeper keeper funny enough, quick enough, and Blaine Hughes became the goalkeeper again. Even Rafferty, a great footballer, but wasn't used as a goalkeeper. And all of a sudden, whilst they lost the penalty shootout, to Donegal, they did obviously they had the last laugh in the last Sunday in July. So I think there's obviously a lot of moving parts to it. But within my lifetime, hmm, I think it's the third best. I think 2011 was obviously the best because it was a 19-year drought. So I think that will always have to come top. Like nothing, it'll be very hard. Hopefully, we don't go no longer than 19-year drought, but it's pretty hard to top that. I think that their
Mm.
second would be 2018 because it was the first one in the post Jim McGuiness era. Then the other manager struggled beforehand to win in Ulster, but then Declan Boner came in the first year in RS. After getting relegated, there was probably a lot of question marks over us, I guess, about us as a team. Like, so at least we had momentum going into that final there. Like, I know, but so shocked there. But I think, yeah, that's one because 5 year wait's the big kind of one there, and the Jim Guinness factor and stuff like. So that's probably the impressive Arsenal there. Like, so I think I would have to put that for within the ones of my lifetime. But winning in penalties against the county that actually created the penalty kick, that can't seem to win a shootout, but whatever. Look. They can win all Ireland's and we can't. Like, so that's the big. Ultimately, they have a better, yeah.
Yeah, like, and I suppose, like, obviously with the way it panned out as well, like you get to the semi-finals, like in the group stages, you obviously had some good results in there, beating the likes of Tyrone, losing to Cork, which maybe was a bit of a surprise. And then in the quarterfinals, you obviously get the win versus Louth. And then, I mean, it was interesting because, like, it was such a brilliant year for Donegal doing what they did, winning obviously an Ulster title, as you said previously. Nobody expected it at the start of the year. Like, I think before a ball was kicked, even with Jim McGuiness coming back, I think you would have bit someone's hand off to win the Division 2 title, win an Ulster title, and then lose an All-Ireland semi-final by like a point or 2 points. But in the end, it was probably one of them things where it was a massive opportunity because the Dubs had gone, Kerry had gone. You'd obviously beaten Armagh recently, all via by penalties. Galway are a great side, but it just felt like a massive opportunity missed, maybe in some ways.
Yeah. Ultimately, it was 114 to 15 points. So things in there. Galway could get goals. We couldn't. Like, Galway just have, you know, their defenders are massive. With Fitzy and others, they just have a massive, defending line there, and they can, you'd Shane Walsh and Damien Comer back in their own half come the kind of later part of the game, and it was a dogfight and stuff. Like they knew they had a job to do, and I don't think Paul Conroy in the past would be somewhat of a defensive midfielder, and he usually is plays in a more defensive role of the midfield, but they brought him up for a few minutes and he got that all important goal. Like, so I don't know.
Mm.
We've a midfield of Thompson and Langan as our midfield. I know Keelan McGonough now plays as a six, but Jim McGuiness kind of uses him as a third midfielder, and is Patter Mogan is probably our most attacking option in the back line, but you know he's maybe not a big man, so we probably need a little bit of a goal scoring spark somewhere around the pitch. And maybe is that, if you had a fully fit Michael Murphy, last 15 minutes of a game, it's going to come from him. He'll definitely be. He's definitely going to set someone up if he's not going to score a goal. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. Like, and yeah, I mean, going into obviously this year, then like year two, as we said, for Jim McGuiness. But look, I think the big news, obviously, recently that broke was Michael Murphy returning. Obviously having not been around the last couple of seasons, and having retired and everything else. I think a lot of people felt like maybe he'd come back last year, with Jim McGuiness coming back. He didn't then come back. He stayed on as a pundit, and you thought, right, that's it. He's definitely not coming back.
yeah,
And now he is back. So yeah, what were your thoughts on that?
yeah. For the BBC and GA Go, it's a big loss for them. But if you're from Donegal, you wouldn't really care. I think it's a massive bonus to have us. You know what I mean? There was a club game where he scored a Division One club game. So the highest division where he scored 3-6 in a club game. If anyone, if any player scores 3-6 in a club game, then a club player, then surely the county manager will be notified pretty quickly. And I think he's definitely got it there. But maybe that's what he needed though. Like he had what he was on and off with Glen Swilly last year, but he was fully fit for Glen Swilly. He was fully immersed in the squad there, and I feel like he maybe ironed out some injury problems, and I think he maybe rediscovered his spark again in a shirt for Glen Swilly there, and he's younger than Paul Conroy. He's only a few months older than James McCarthy, who he retired there. But you know what I mean. So if he's younger than the actual footballer of the year, and he is 35, he's 35, which isn't it's not outrageous, but still, he's definitely got that with 34, I think. But he's not yes for he's not off the chart. You know what I mean. And I can't thought I counted he gave 16 years of his life between the minor panel and the senior panel. But you know what I mean? It's one more year, and he's definitely got a lot going for him. So I think he's not been called up for the crack. I don't know if he's going to start every game, but I say we need that goal scoring spark. Then I think Michael Murphy's the man to be him, and yeah. So and I think if any players ever deserve the second All Ireland, then
Yeah, just looking at it there, like he was 35 in August, so it'll be 36 by the time the championship finishes up, I suppose, kind of around August next year. But yeah, I think it's huge having him back, in fairness. Because yeah, as you said, I don't think it does kind of remind me a little bit of when Dublin a few years ago brought the band back together of Cluxton, Mannion, McCaffrey. You're bringing Michael Murphy back. Realistically, he's not coming back for, he's coming back to win an All Ireland, and he's probably, I would say, max 2 years. But if you were to win it this year, he might just call it after that. Then,
yeah.
So he's coming back to win the All Ireland, and obviously with Jim McGuiness in there, second year, I suppose it is a bit of a no brainer really for him to come back.
100%, 100%. And that's not he's not here to sit around like an second. It's believed maybe last time that he didn't maybe buy into the idea of taking a stopper thing. And I even said in your podcast in 2021 that we need to prepare for the post Michael Murphy future, and 2023 was a mess with Murphy, and I don't think Michael Murphy could have even fixed the mess of 2023. We were pretty, we were Division 3 standard, you know what I mean? And now in Division, but now that he's back, I think we've got the team will post Michael Murphy future and all rest. So I think we've got it there. I think, Tyrone struggled for a few years when Peter Canavan left, and then eventually they built a team. They didn't build a team of individuals. The idea of one man teams gone. It's out the window. You'll have it in Louth with Samuel Roy. You'll have it with Sligo with Niall Murphy. But once you get to Division 1, Sam Maguire football, you're not going to succeed with a one man team anymore. And that's ultimate thing there. And I think that's what make a great team. And looking at any Dublin teams, was there one player who was a cut above the rest? No, there wasn't. So I think that's for
Mm.
any team to succeed, you need 15 players who are as good as each other, and I think that's and Mike Murphy's on the same level as any other player on the panel. Well, most players on the panel, but yeah,
Yeah, like I mean, it'd be interesting to see like what kind of, because as you said, like last year without him, I don't think there was a huge need really for him to come back as well. At the
yeah,
same time, like some people might have had Donegal as favourites or in the mix even without Michael Murphy coming back. So like it will be interesting to see what kind of role he plays. Like does he? I mean, look, in the league he probably won't play too much. He'll probably be used sparingly here and there. But at the same time, he's not going to come back to not play. Do you know what I mean? To be
yeah,
on the
yeah,
bench or whatever. So it's just going to be interesting to see how he slots back in.
yeah. Michael Murphy is yeah. I think he's eyeing up. I think getting back in the panel and getting to know the players. I think whenever Jim McGuiness goes, he will be our next manager. I think that he's already got Sigerson experience managing the ATU. He has a great love of coaching. At 18 years old, he was coaching the under-15s in Glen Swilly, and he's still coaching all the time around the other. He'd at least be involved in a background team or maybe a minor team with Donegal GA. Like I think he's very much preparing for his future on the sidelines as well as his future on the pitch. And I think he's a great footballer. And you know what I mean. Like he's still scoring free six in league games and stuff. Like he's going to be used, and that new the new rules are going to suit him. The fact that he's not going to do as much running. He's just going to have to stay up in the D and just absolutely torture defenders around him. So I think that's going to happen there. Like, and I think the new rules are suiting his favor. Well, he made the rules, but it's definitely going to be his favor there. And yeah, and the new 2 point mark rules are going to be ideal again.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and someone say, it was he's playing 40 chess or something there because he's been a part of the new rules and now he's coming back to implement those new rules. So, yeah, someone say he's kind of ahead of the curve a little bit there. But in terms of like other players or maybe outs and ins or anything of that nature, like I haven't really heard any kind of big players leaving or anything of that nature, and you'd understand why. There's a lot of them obviously sticking around. Would it been a big year, but could it be much of the same panel for next year? Could there be any fresh faces, do you think? Or
And fresh faces. Well, the main fresh face that everyone's talking about is Finbar Rorty, who,
Hmm.
if you remember last year, Jim McGuinness was held in initial ban that was fucking up and down. Like, but for he's only 4 days off. He like a birthday on like the 4th or 5th of January, so he's only like 5 days off the year he turned 18, which is about where it is. But he's a great player. Like, and he was captain of the under 20s last year, and like so he was captain of lads he was who were 2 years older than him. At that age, especially at that age, it's probably crucial and stuff like And while it's been a poor year for his club, Neve Connell, who got seven consecutive finals in Donegal to go out in the quarterfinal. I think it was Big Leicester, but I think he's really shown he's started every game for them and stuff like so. To step into the most consistent team in Donegal over the last 10 years like that, was I think the avenue's definitely there for him, and I think he, when I talk about that lad who can run from deep and get a goal, who's probably going to be listed as a defender, I think I would point in the direction of Finn Barrorty. I think he's the main one.
mm,
There's a few others like Shannon Carr, also as well. I think he's involved with the DC. He's been playing a bit for DCU. Would have played for the under 20s last year. He was a good player there. And I think this the year Luke McGlynn might actually become a starting player too. Like he was a regular player actually in the last season of Boner, but then other players came in. Oisin Gallen was getting back to fitness and stuff like so. That's always there. Like so, I think them three, I think would have to pin it down. But Luke McGlynn was still playing for the under 20s last year, so I think them three, I think I'm going to pin down as maybe the three kind of ones to look out for. And as for Michael Langan was abroad, missing his club action for um, Neve Michael in the club championship. So everyone, even speaking to people from that parish, think that he was probably giving up the GA altogether. But no, he came back all of a sudden for their semi final game against Donegal, which was a bit of a shock that they lost it. So I say he's very much committed to playing for it. That he's very much committed to playing with the team there. So I think that was the only semi rumor that existed. Or player Conde, like even if you look at the age profile, you know Michael Murphy at 35 and Paddy McBurdy at 32. Other than that, I can't even really think of too many men that are the other side of 30. I'm not retiring anyone, but it's just putting logic in place. It wouldn't be for
Mm.
age and stuff like and so I think that's there. And but I think I believe Bradley Welch, who used to play soccer for Finn Harps, a good footballer who plays with Oishingal and has been contacted in the Donegal team, but I don't know if that's going to happen. That's about pie in the sky at the minute. But yeah,
Yeah, looking ahead to the league, then obviously next season, like looking at Division One, I mean it's absolutely stacked. Like this year, from speaking to a few lads previously and other previews, like you've got Armagh, Derry, you've obviously got yourselves, Donegal, Dublin, Galway, Kerry, Mayo, and Tyrone. Like I know in previous years you had Monaghan and Roscommon in there and a few other teams, and they would often pull up wins and everything else. And sometimes you looked at them as the games you should win, and then you wouldn't win, and it was kind of all a little bit mad. But like between all eight of those sides, it feels like very little, and you could make a case for anyone really to get into the league final, but possibly anyone to get relegated at the same time.
exactly. Like, and that's not like it's a bloody coin toss of the league. It really is. Like, and and I want to make it very clear. It wasn't coincident. It was just a coincidence there that when you were saying out the names, I'm thinking, is that not just the eight teams I was telling you about that were in contention for an All Ireland earlier? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, and that no, it wasn't me just looking at the Division One beforehand and saying, yeah, that's all out there. It was just teams that were coming into my head, and that's ultimately the difference there. Like, so yeah, it really has to be a proper one there, and yeah, relegation's on there, but I think the 2026 league is going to be pretty two sided. I think whoever goes down, and it's not a slight on you, but I think we've only won one league title in the past, and I think that's something maybe that Jim McGuiness might want to get us to do it. So I'm going to say we're going to win the league. I think we're going to win the league. I think we're going to play Mayo in a final. I think a lot of players. There'll be some new players in the Mayo panel who'll have a point to prove. I think there's a bit of hunger in the Mayo team go out and maybe get to the final there. And as for the semi final, and it's based for I'm really I was clutching at straws for reasons to relegate these two teams, and I mean that. And I mean that, they're two. Either team could very easily win the All Ireland, and
Hmm.
I'm putting Dublin down as one of them. I just for the Fenton loss, I think he is your most important player. Well, he was your most important player.
Hmm.
So I think that there, like, I'd be very surprised if Stephen Cluxton's back. Like, so it's going to be a massive change up and shake up from top to bottom of the team. And I think it's just going to take a bit of like a ground in there, but no doubt you'll be back in the semi-finals or maybe even an All Ireland final come the business end of the championship. So I think it's just due to the new elements of the Dublin team we'll put there, and I'm going to put Armagh to get relegated. And it's no hard feelings towards Armagh, nothing like that. Like, it's just that a bit like ourselves in 2013, we were coming off the massive high of winning and All Ireland stuff, like, because usually have a teams not that used to winning All Irelands, but like ourselves in 2013, like I think and no
Hmm.
preseason tournament stuff, like I think they will probably get that bit too big to yourself, like, and they are a newly promoted team, but so are we. So like I'm not saying that it's gonna go either way, but I think they'll be down, like, yeah, and they have experience. I'm not just saying, like, both Dublin and Armagh have experience within the last 5 years of getting relegated. Now, every team except Kerry seems to have been relegated quite recently in Division One. So anyone but Kerry, I think probably could go down. So I think that's probably at there. Like so, that's just me. That's just me saying. Yeah, that. Yeah, that's just. It's very clutching at straws ideas, Norris. But I couldn't find any straws for the other teams, so I guess I'll
Mm.
just have to relegate them too.
Yeah, like I mean, like especially from a Dublin perspective, like it is going to be tough for us. Like we've got 3 home games in there, 4 away games. So like it definitely will be tough from a Dublin perspective. Looking at Donegal's fixture list though, like it is a tricky enough fixture list to begin with. Like Kerry away on the opening day, Fitzgerald
Yeah,
Stadium, like that's as tough as it gets for your opening match. You've then actually got Dublin at home in match day 2, and then Armagh at home. Albeit like with two of those games at home, I suppose isn't bad. But that's still a tricky fixture list to start with.
definitely, definitely. It's see it there. Like yeah, we've a lot of players here. Like Kerry and Dublin in the first 2 games.
Yeah, it
Yes,
could,
but
could be a good time to play them at the same time though as well.
that's what I'm thinking. I figure we're facing Dublin and Kerry at the right time. That's my logic for us winning the league. Is that we're going to play them at the right time. Because I think I'll just bear me there. I'm just gonna because but wait, I'm just looking here. Like so, take it that Galway play them on the last day and Tyrone play Dublin. I wouldn't want to be go. I'd rather be in our position to Galway or Tyrone's position. That's been perfectly honest. Like so, I know both of them are going to be away trips, but everywhere there, like we've built a fortress. Ballybofey were usually pretty good at Ballybofey. Like McGuiness, especially under McGuiness, though we struggle to lose Ballybofey. Like so, at least we're playing there. Like we have paired up record Letterkenny, even though it's turned around in recent years. So I think if we're going to lose any games, it's going to actually be Tyrone in our own backyard in Letterkenny. Probably, I believe that is 15th of March. So, the bank holiday weekend. I think, that no, we play. Yeah, so I think that's going to be a real humdinger. But we'll see what is in store for the team, and that's been yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be interesting, all right, as you said. Like between all 8 teams, very 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 even indeed. I know you usually have some mad predictions for some of the other divisions. So
I
give us some of your mental predictions there for some of the other divisions.
My mental prediction last year was Waterford beating Tip in the Munster Football Championship, which I'm right about. But division,
Didn't you also say Meath would beat Dublin and Leinster as
yeah,
well? I
yeah,
think.
I
Yeah.
said that too. Like, but we're being a bit more. Yeah, so Division 2 football. I have it just here in a Word document. I'm putting Louth and Meath going up and Louth beating them in the final. I think Louth have been knocking on the door last few years. I think, Meath got that new manager bounce. They're not really losing any key players. I think they've got something going for them. I think I'm going to have to edge it towards them. I think Cavan still are lacking a bit of quality. Monaghan, they'll have a few years there. And as for getting relegated, I think Westmeath are going down. I think they're just that less in quality compared to the other teams. I'd love to see them do well. I'd like to see Mark McHugh do well as their assistant manager. So
Mm.
that's there like and joining them I think is going to be the shock one. I think Roscommon's going to go down with them. I think
Oh.
yeah. Yeah, you were waiting for that. You were waiting
Yeah,
for
yeah,
that.
I had a feeling. I had a feeling. I had a feeling.
I think yeah, I think they're just yeah. I think they're losing. You saw Patrick Pearce, the Roscommon champions, losing out to the Sligo champions there in the club championship, and I just don't see no buzz with them. They're keeping on. David Burke's keeping on stuff like, but I feel things are just going a bit slow there, and they conceded 2 soft goals against Armagh last year, and I just don't know if they've any blistering quality. A lot of their squad is probably hitting their 30s now. You look at it, I just don't. The team of it, it's not. It's the bulk of the team from 2019, which is going to be 6 years ago now. Which I just don't know. I think they just are a team in transition. It's not a slight on Roscommon, but yeah, and
Yeah. What's
As
coming in the
for
Belgian Cup next year? Here we are. There we go.
yeah. And as for Division Three football, I think I'm predicting back to back for Leash. I think they're going to beat. I think they're going to beat from. I think going to beat. I think they're going to slightly beat Fermanagh in the final. I think them for Fermanagh. They're a weird yo-yo team. They're too good for Division Three. They're not good enough for Division Two. They're always
Mm.
there or thereabouts. They keep the squad. They always have 3 or 4 quality players, and they know how to get the ship going. So I'll keep there. And Leash, you saw that they should have beat down in that Tailteann Cup final now, and they absolutely demolished all other competition in Division Four. They're pretty
Mm.
competitive against everyone. You know what I mean? Like they were not getting let down against anyone. Look, I think a bit like Cavan, a few years ago. I think they've just got that bit more quality. Get up on the rest there. So I think they're going to head up there in Orisic, and yeah, so I think they're like and seventh place. The team that's going to avoid relegation. I'm going to go for Leitrim. I think work and stuff. They have a lot of quality, and I think the manager situation, and the way Mickey Graham kind of left them, it's not going to help them, But hey, never lost a game as Leitrim manager. I don't know if too many
There you
others can
go.
say
Yeah.
that. So I think but Poacher's a great coach. He's a great coach again. I think they'll make project progress in the Tailteann Cup. I think we'll get on later to the Tailteann Cup predictions and. So I think that's there. Like so, I think that's really probably what they're eyeing towards. And I haven't seen if Kildare play anything like they did last year, and I can only base off last year's performances. And I'm not rolling
Mm.
down Brian Flanagan. If he can turn it around, I'll issue if Kildare can do well, so I'll issue an apology to any Kildare people watching, and I wish you the best of luck. You have a Division One quality squad, but your performances in recent years, especially last year, have been out there, and the way they narrowly beat a much better performing Wicklow team last year, and
Yeah.
that's not an exaggeration. Just on last year, I have to put them down to Division Four, and I don't want to say it. Kildare in Division Four, I never thought I'd say it, but I just don't think. I think Offaly, Clare, Sligo, Antrim are good enough to be Division Three, and I don't know if they're good enough for Division or like maybe Offaly because they lost to London, but other than that, yeah, I say yes, Hearts one.
Yeah. Not that Davy Burke will be watching this, but if he is, I think he might be banging his head against the wall or something because he's heard Roscommon are going down to Division 3 and then his native Kildare are going down to Division 4. But to be fair, I think if Kildare go down to Division 4, it's probably Davy Burke probably goes in there. But
Yeah,
yeah, not that I'd agree with with Kildare getting
yeah, fair.
relegated or even Roscommon in fairness. But what are you thinking for Division 4?
Yeah. I think it is probably the second most competitive division below Division One, like. But I'm gonna have to go off Tailteann Cup results and who's on probably momentum going into it. A lot of these teams get batterings in the Tailteann Cup. Never mind Sam Maguire, so that's not been exaggerating. Like, but it's not. It's nothing to do with my place of residence. I want to make this very clear. But I think the big shock last year was Waterford beating Tip. That was a big thing there. I've been just following some of the club action as well. I was they lost to Dr. Crokes, the Raf Gormick, the Waterford champions. We make
Yeah.
up a good chunk of the Waterford County team. Lost to Kilmacud Crokes, not that Kilmacud Crokes, Dr. Crokes, the Kerry champions by 1 point in the thing there, and there was a dodgy penalty decision that they didn't get as well, and then Dr. Crokes, they went out and beat Lockport Castellani by 15 points. So people are saying, that's probably one of the poorest Kerry champions in a good while, which I think is nuts because they beat some amalgamation teams and they have a lot of key players in their squad, like including Michael Burns. So they definitely have a lot of key quality in their team. So I do think that they're like so. I think if Waterford can get their act together, they can win it there. It's only if they can get their act together, and yeah, and another team who have 9 Donegal men on their panel. They did last year. I don't know, but this year, good chance they might even have more. And I think London have a good enough record in Ruslip, and I think they were able to beat Offaly last year, so they're able to beat against a pretty solid Division 3 team. Offaly aren't a bad team. I know a lot of people were running down Offaly, but it's very just what I mean. Like, so there's no, it's they definitely weren't beating any weak teams, and they got themselves into preliminary quarterfinals. So they're definitely knocking on the door of the big boys there. So I think I would have to go with Offaly. I would have to go with a Waterford London promotion, which I don't know, like, because Wicklow and Carlow are good enough to go up. So are Longford and Limerick, and even Tip, I think, been, they finished near the bottom of the division for last year. And like, are Longford making progress? No, because Waterford beat them last year. Limerick aren't making any progress. Wexford aren't making any progress. Carlow aren't making any progress. Wicklow's down from Division 4. Waterford and London are the only two teams that have actually probably improved in 2024 compared to 2023. And that's just me looking at results just before it there. That's just that, like, it's not, you know what I mean, like, squad quality, you know, and the actual quality of the squad, they'd be bottom half of the league. Don't get me wrong; it's definitely not. I still find it ridiculous, but I just had them based off last year's results, and that's not me being absolutely, that's not me being harsh to any of the other teams. It's really just more of a criticism of the other teams and compliments of others. But yeah, I think in a final, if say Barford there, like, but that's just it now though. Like, it's not that there, but that's just, yeah, it's difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, Waterford and and London and Croke Park. Look, I think we'd all be there to see it. In fairness, but yeah, no, I do think Division 4, like, even looking at it as well, like, it does feel fairly open. Like, you probably would look at some of the teams who came down last season, but at the same time, like, I do agree in the sense that there are a lot of counties there that probably are struggling and everything else. Looking ahead to obviously the big one, kind of the All Ireland season and everything else, and looking at how Donegal will get on in the Ulster Senior Football Championship. So it is interesting again. Like, again, you've got probably a tough opening game, obviously, against Derry. This time around, it will be in Ballybuffet, I think, will it? Against
Yeah.
Derry.
Yeah.
So, I mean, given how that obviously, like, the two will obviously play each other in the league as well. But given the fact that the game that happened last year, the way Donegal obviously blew Derry away. Derry obviously now have a new manager as well. Like, that was kind of the start of the Mickey Hart downfall. So, like, yeah, I mean, the thoughts of that game, taking place on the 5th or the 6th of April, like, I can't come quickly enough, really.
Look, in the last 10 years, Derry only beat us once, and that was after extra time. In a lot of other years, that would have went to a replay in that 2023, not 2022 Ulster final. Our record against Derry, home and away, has been quite good. You know what I mean? Like, I think Derry could take us to extra time, but I think, if you had to choose a winner, it'd have to be. I think we'd have to. I think you'd have to give us the backing of winning of winning it, and I think that's just, it's not, yeah. I think I'm going to look like a fool. Derry could pull it on go last year, but we had our management in place in August 2023. They had their management in place in November 2023, no, November 2024. You know what I mean? Like, that's the
Yeah.
difference. So, like, that's a team that's, that have so much potential, but kind of, fail to prepare to fail, sort of, vibes off. That's just not. It's not me saying. I think toe to toe, they can match our squad. Some will say Derry have a better squad than us, and that's all a worthy opinion. But I think I would have to back ourselves to go and t- take the spoils. I think we'll advance to the semis in that one, and I think we're out. But I can give you my outright Ulster prediction if you want. But
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at it. You'd play Downer for Mana in the semi-finals. The other side
yeah,
of the draw, Armagh are going to beat Antrim, if we're being honest. Throne
yeah,
Cavan was
definitely.
fair Throne Cavan was very, very close. Obviously, last year Throne just about got over the
I
line.
think the Malachy work factor is gonna mean they're that bit better this year. I think, yeah, I think under I think that new bounce. I think they've got that new bounce. I think they'll get there. I think it'll be. I think we're looking at another Donegal Armagh final.
And do you think Donegal retain the Ulster title?
Yes, I think we'll retain the Ulster title. Though Armagh just don't win Ulsters, do they? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I was delighted for all the abuse Kieran McGuiness got to see him win the All Ireland and stuff. Like, but 10 years of not delivering any either the All Ireland or Ulster Championship, he was definitely under a lot of pressure there. Like, but I know that's a monkey they need to get off. Well, they don't have to get off their back, like, but I'm sure when you're Sam Maguire champions, Ulster comes second. I'm sure Armagh would still appreciate an Ulster, but I think we're very much, we want that first seed. We don't want to be, you know what I mean? Like, we don't, we want, we do want that first seed to get into the thing there, because you don't want to be playing, you don't want to, because like, it's pretty, the evidence is pretty strong for who's going to win Munster and Leinster. So you don't want to be playing a Dublin or Kerry in the group stage. So getting that first seed's important though, and I think that's that little pint there. But I think Armagh would love the idea of beating a Dublin or Kerry in a group stage.
Yeah,
As
I mean, I suppose the overall big picture then, the All Ireland. I mean, do you think it will happen then? Do you think Donegal? I mean, you've predicted yourselves to win the league, Ulster. I mean, are you predicting the treble now?
I don't want to jinx anything. Do you want to listen to my heart or my head?
I don't know. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's better at times.
Ah, jeez, who's going to win the All Ireland? Jesus. Oh, I don't know. Do you know what? I don't. Deep down, I think we can do it. We can do it, but I'm not going to predict us to win it. And I'm just gonna put any predictions of us winning All Ireland to one side for a minute. I talked about one county that's everyone was writing off at the earlier in the episode. A county that is cursed. A county that I think I think if you looked at Armagh last year, you're looking at the greatest nerdy men of the GAA who nearly got worse. Like look at how narrowly Mayo lost to Galway last year in the Connacht final. One last kick of the game. They lost to Derry and Penrith and all the rest. I think of Mayo, we've always said it about Mayo. If they were that 1% better, they'd be All Ireland champions. We've always, if you're looking at a radio debate from 20 years ago about this issue, they would say the same about Mayo. And it's always been that way since the 1950s. But I think this might be the year. I think this might be the year Mayo's gonna put it on. Gonna love Sam. I think I'm gonna say it now. I think it's gonna be I think this is the year they're gonna do it there, but just you watch and see someone like Sligo's gonna go out with it now. But I think Mayo probably are that little bit I think Mayo just are that I think they'll always catch it when people write Mayo off is always when they get to All Ireland finals. Like they'll always lose a player or two, and all of a sudden, but as I said, you've Paddy Turkin, you've Colin Reap, you've many others on the team. You've Tommy Conroy up front. Owen McLaughlin. You know what I mean? Like are these players would walk into the Donegal team, they'd walk into the Dublin or Kerry teams, and they'd walk into a lot of these teams. Like so, Mayo have the quality of any of the other Division One teams, and it's really just what I mean. Like, but I think when it comes to one All Ireland, you could really just pick it out. If you pick any team out of a hat of the Division One teams, I wouldn't be surprised. But that's just yeah.
Yeah, like I do agree to a certain extent. I think probably some of the coverage around Mayo, or at least on Twitter and everything else, probably has been a little bit blown out of proportion. Like Killian O'Connor and Pádraig O'Hara, to be fair, they weren't starting anyway for Mayo. Like they weren't playing week in, week out. So what? I don't think that it's not like Dublin losing the fencing or anything of that nature.
It's an amateur sport. Like why are these men going to commit so much of their free time? That they could be spending in their personal and professional lives for not to play. Like so that's not, exactly. You know what I mean? it's not there, and the players that do start for Mayo are going to get that bit stronger. And I think there's a lot of thing there, and I suggested to Keith Higgins, you think you'll win the All Ireland this year on my own podcast, and he was quick enough to dismiss the idea and all the rest of things. That we need to get back to quarterfinals was his kind of view there. But I think I'd have to back it there. I think they've got that kind of surprise element. I think we're gonna be an element of a few surprise teams winning All Irelands over the next few years after our Armagh's one. I think we're seeing a very wide open All Ireland, and I think that's probably a thing there. But I think if any, and Mayo I think is the only team. I think any team, they're the team that's probably caused Donegal the most heartbreak, more than a Dublin or Kerry could only dream of the heartbreak Mayo's caused Donegal. I think the only team that could properly pull one up on Donegal as Mayo. I think Dublin Kerry will beat them. Galway will beat them. Tyrone, I'm pretty honest won Ulster, so we'll beat all the Ulster teams, And I think that's the difference between us. Yeah. So I think that's the only, because they're the only team that are capable of beating Donegal, and they're not the best team in the country. I think they're like after second, if I'm being generous, and if you were to make a power ranking, but I think I'd still have to back. I'd back them to beat them because they're the only team that's capable of beat Donegal, and I don't want to jinx Donegal winning it. So that's my main logic.
There we go. Yeah, Mayo for Sam 2025. Yeah, you heard it here. You heard it here first. To be fair, I've had some mad predictions about Mayo down the years, so I'll refrain from holding back on any mad predictions about Mayo. Yeah. I'll save my All Ireland predictions maybe for another couple of weeks or something of that nature. I would be shocked to see them win it. I won't lie.
Same here. Yeah.
Just because of the last couple of years, they just haven't really looked right under Kevin McStay, to be honest. But yeah, in terms of any surprise packages or anything of that nature, or what do you think any teams there might cause a surprise or two in the All Ireland this year, or even Tailteann Cup or whatever it might be, provincial championships even?
Yeah, I think it would be the most Mayo. It would be the most Mayo thing if Sligo beat them in the first round of Connacht and they went on to win the All Ireland. I think they're on a crest of a wave. I think Sligo, because you have to understand they're a good Division 3 team, and to Mayo they know they're going to be in an All Ireland regardless of what happens this year. They know they're going to be in the proper Sam Maguire competition. I think Sligo are eyeing down because they just need that performance of their lives to beat Mayo to get past. Then they have to beat. Then they'll have to get past Leitrim to get to the Connacht final. This is the biggest opportunity for Sligo to avoid the Tailteann Cup. Because I don't think they're good enough to get to Division 2. But are they good enough for one-off performance? We saw Kilrea Strandhill. Niall Morgan, Niall Murphy is probably the best. He's probably in the top 5 footballers in the whole country. I put him there he's from Sligo, but I think those under 20 players are now of age, and I think I'm not saying they're going to win an All Ireland, but I think they're so used to beating your Mayos, your Galways, Roscommons at youth levels that they're now the big dog. So some of them are going to have that big dog mentality. You know what I mean? And they might not view them. It's weird. It's a weird way of looking at it, but I think that's one kind of shock there. And so I think they could be it there. But will they win Connacht against a Galway or Roscommon? I think I've exceeded my limit on mad predictions. So I think we'll have to just about hand it to Galway. A Galway Sligo final. I think I'll back it on that there. That's my logic there. And Tailteann Cup, I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep it in Connacht. I think when you look at provincial, you look at the other side of Dublin. There's a few Division 3 teams that could get to a final in Leinster. Look, Dublin's winning Leinster, Kerry's winning Munster. Let's not beat around the bush in that there. But I think and even always there's always the other side of Munster. The Kerry isn't on, a Clare, probably not, could get to that other side, because Kerry and Clare are separated as last year's finalists. Yeah. So you're looking at some of the stronger contenders are going to go up into the Tailteann. Tailteann are going to avoid the Tailteann through the provincial final. So I think you'll have at least 3 teams there. So I think I said Leitrim's big challenge will be the Tailteann Cup. So if I had to go for a winner, I think Leitrim could really pull it out the bag. I think they'll probably put up some spirited performances in Division 3, but I think Stephen Poacher will get the house in order. I just think the appointment was too late for them to make any impact in the league. I think they probably would have survived if he was appointed in August, but I think that's ultimately the division. That's ultimately going to be the Tailteann Cup winners.
There we go. Yeah, yeah. I mean, look, there's some interesting predictions in there. I think like the odds of Sligo beating Mayo and then Mayo winning the All Ireland in the same season. Like, I mean, I don't know what odds you'd get on that. Like, honestly, I'd actually be curious to check after this. After this, do you know what I mean? But to be fair, like it probably would, as you said before, though, like it probably would be the most Mayo thing ever to lose. Like, I mean, they lost to Longford one year in 2011, and then a year later they went on to, or in 2010, a year later they went on to beat the All Ireland champions. So, I mean, it can happen. Like, it can happen, and
definitely. They're not. Yeah, that's something like Mayo always bring their performance to their opposition. They'll always equal them. They'll never get hammered. They'll never hammer anyone apart from Donegal in about 2013 and 2015. But that's what I mean about that one up on Donegal. If any county's ever had a one up on Donegal, it's always been Mayo. So I would have to put them. So that's ultimately that's a bit weird. Like, so that's ultimately what I always think about Mayo, though. Like, well, they hammered Leitrim one year, to be fair. Like, but other than that, like, when it comes to Division 3 up, they always are equal to the kind of their opponents. So I would have to go with there. Like, so I think that's kind of the big predictions I can definitely see coming there. But no, but the heart very much is only sees green and gold ribbons on Sam Maguire. But yeah, so
there we go. There we are. Yeah, I mean, look, 2012 was Donegal Mayo in the final, so who knows? It could be very much a repeat. But yeah, look, we'll very much go ahead and wrap this up here. Cheers very much for Patrick for jumping on. I suppose before we do finish up, actually, if anyone's looking to check out any of your own stuff or anything of that nature, where can they find it?
Yeah, look, I got I've been a bit busy with a new job actually in the GE media industry, which has been great. But yeah, I GE Zone Media on Instagram, GE Zone Facebook, GEZone.com for the website, and the season 6 of the podcast is currently going. But I have a few more interviews lined up within the next few weeks or whatnot, and I'll try get them out of the way and stuff. But it's just hard to get going with different work situations, stuff like. But I'll definitely from the next month or two, we'll have a few more episodes there, like, so we'll get there. Like, yeah, but thank you all very much for tuning in, and hopefully, yeah, hopefully I'm wrong with the All Ireland prediction.
yeah. Look, to be fair, I kind of hope you're wrong as well, to be honest with you. Anyway, look,
so do I.
We'll go ahead and wrap this up here anyway. Yeah, cheers anyone who tuned in. Hit the like button, subscribe, and we'll see you all